To St. Matthew's as we continue our study of Luke. We are in chapter 10. We've just finished the story of the Good Samaritan, parable of the Good Samaritan. Now we are at chapter 10, verse 38, with a familiar old story which gets used and probably abused too much, the story of Mary and Martha. Why don't we go ahead and jump into it, Jean, with verse 38, please. This is the disciples are traveling along the way, and it's interesting how this is worded. Whose house is it? It says Martha's house here. How do we often think of it? We often think of it as Lazarus' house, and usually I have not been to Bethany. Judy, did you go to Bethany? Anybody else? Mike, Carol, and so, but I'm pretty sure there are the supposed ruins of Lazarus' house, at least according to tradition. To tradition. So that's interesting. The fact that it says her home, you can use that in a more generic sense of anybody in the family. But I think what this opens up the possibility, at least, so sure, it could be Lazarus and the two sisters have always lived with their brother. But there's also the possibility here, at least, that maybe Martha is a widow at this point, and maybe Lazarus and Mary have come to live with her. Maybe she's the one who has means because she may have been, you didn't get inheritance very well back then, but at times. So could be that Martha owns the house, or it's just the family home. But it seems that they are prosperous, they can entertain largely, and they can host Jesus and his disciples there in the house on more than one occasion. They come into the house. It says that she received them into her house. It's an old verb for she welcomes guests into the home. Mar oh, it says actually welcomed them into the home. Okay. She or opened up her home to him is to him. It's really to them. I mean, it says him, but she's doing it for all of them. Pretty clear here that she is the elder sister. There's one tradition which doesn't really have any support, but one tradition is remember that Jesus goes to dine at the house of Simon the leper. And so there's a tradition that she may be his wife or something and he's not around, but that's pretty fanciful. Nobody's ever heard that story? Okay. Well, maybe that one's dying out. One of those, somebody, okay. Somebody came up with that one somewhere along there. Okay. She opens into the house. 39. Let's go to Carol, please. So she is sitting right at her seat. Remember, this is back then. Now it's a household setting, so you can kind of imagine people sitting to converse, but that's also the teaching style of the day. Teachers didn't stand typically, so when Jesus is in the temple and stands, that's like, whoa, he's really drawing attention. A teacher normally sat and conversed more, back and forth, dialogue. So he's sitting as he normally would. She's sitting there right at his feet. Martha's mentioned first. She's clearly in charge. Martha is clearly a giving person. She's opened up her home this way. She's probably got real resources, or the family has real resources to take care of this many people. Things are already starting to turn. So they are close to Jerusalem. We're not in Galilee anymore. So I wouldn't say you could get in trouble at this point. But there's probably wagging tongues with those who are too close to Jerusalem as Jesus followers at this point. Maybe a little suspicion by some, but she is clearly a devoted follower. And Miriam. Anybody know Hebrew for Miriam? Or for Mary, I just gave it away. It's Miriam, okay? Yes. So Miriam in Hebrew, that's where Miriam comes from. She's seen as being devoted, she's humble, she's loyal, and there's probably a crowd. If he's there teaching, they've probably welcomed other people in. She's right down, we would say, front and center to listen. Are we at Mike for 40? Oh, I'm just saying that was the tradition of the day. Teachers sat to teach, didn't stand to teach. Yeah. No, it's not there in the text. Uh-huh. Now, Martha often gets beat up there for being snippy. I think any of us who have been in a situation where we're running around trying to get 101 things done, I know that my patience gets a little thin at times. As pastor, you may not see it too much, hopefully, but I can tell you in real life it does. That's, I think, perfectly normal. Uh, I have distracted. What other verbs do you have? Martha is distracted. She's left me to serve alone. Ah, yes, she's cumbered about the King James. How often do you use cumbered? I'm cumbered with things. Do you? Well, that might be for other reasons. The word literally means to draw around and be twisted to and fro as you're. It's also distracted, but literally it's kind of like being twisted, trying to run 101 directions at the same time, we might say, right? But there is one place you use cumbered at least once a year. No, I mean, it may be in there, but that's you actually all, well, yeah, you're all in worship almost every Sunday. I can almost guarantee that you use the word in worship at least, well, here once a year. Make sure to do it once a year. Yes, that's how it makes its way into What a Friend We Have in Jesus. It's because it's the old King James translation of cumbered with a load of care. And probably everybody's thinking, what? Yeah. Everybody's probably thinking, what does that mean? This is what it means. It means to be drawn together, twisted around, tied up in knots, filled with anxiety and worry. She's got all this going on, but she Oh, is that where that comes? Oh, because it draws around. I bet that's the same root. Never thought of it. Ah, because it's supposed to be like a girdle in a sense. Yeah, I mean they're decorative today, but I had not thought that through. Very good. Uh, well, thank you. It is normal to be feeling that way when you've got all this going on. And in fact, while and Jesus is going to chide a little bit, I think, at the end. But for Martha getting beat up over this, it's perfectly natural, but it's natural for somebody who really cares and really loves because it's because you're caring and loving that you want things to be taken care of correctly. And that's why it's not that she's snippy or anything else. And of course, we see in John's gospel her deep faith. I know that my brother will rise at the last day. She is a woman of profound faith. And in John, John says Jesus loved Martha. So clearly they're very close. And I think that's why he can chide her at the end, is because the language is used, it's not romantic language, but they have a such a close personal relationship. It's like that. Your close friends that you could say something to that that they need to hear, which not everybody could say it, or if they did say it, it wouldn't come off right or work right. Yeah, and that probably demonstrates the close relationship too. It's not that this isn't chewing out so much. She's exasperated, she's frustrated, tearing her hair out, whatever you want to use, but she's has that close enough relationship with Jesus that they can, well, a little bit of banter here, we might say. Oh, I think that she is. She wants to. Exactly. And she's exasperated, right? I should be the one getting there to listen, especially if she's the older daughter. I mean, sadly. Now, remember this too. This is an era where Men were the ones who were taught. Men went to school. So in the culture of the day, Mary's role isn't to be there listening, it's to be in the kitchen. So this is really Jesus breaking through the sexual stereotypes of the day, that he's supporting the fact that this woman is there learning. Uh, but Martha clearly wants to be also. Yeah, there's continuing action verb here. What she really says is she keeps leaving me. Now, when you hear it that way, we don't typically translate it that way, but that would be the more accurate translation. She keeps leaving me. What might that imply to you? Instead of my sister has left me, which is NIV, my sister keeps leaving me to do the work by myself. How do you hear that? She doesn't like kitchen work. She doesn't like kitchen work, Karen. So no. I think there's two possibilities of how to look at that. One could be, oh, well, here goes Mary not helping in the kitchen again, right? Or it could also be, this is, I think, less likely, but it's an option, that maybe Mary is getting up and helping a little bit, but then going right back down and sitting down. That she's, how she's not really being much of any help, but maybe she's not completely not helping. Does that make sense? Yeah. Can't be sure, but it is interesting that we never translate it with continuing action. Does the King James? I'm sure it doesn't use continuing action there either, does it? So, what's the what's what's the birth order here? Okay, that was one of the other things I was going to say about, isn't this is very typical birth order type stuff. The eldest child, now Lazarus may be eldest, but at least the eldest female here is the one who's the responsible, most responsible one, and the younger one has grown up in an atmosphere where the eldest kind of took care of stuff. So, no, well, that's significant. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Interesting. We'll know someday. A lot of speculation at this point as to what's going on in the story, but it's oh, is leaving me. Ah, okay. Well, at least it's trying to grasp that. That is interesting. They're trying to do the continuing action there. Very good. Well, 41, here comes the chiding. Are we at Judy? Or Judy, did you read? Okay. You're anxious. There's two different verbs here. They're very closely related. The first one is anxious, as in you're worried. You're just worried all the time, which is, it means to be kind of torn in two inside. You're letting this stuff eat you up inside, might say. And you're troubled. The word is actually tumult. It can mean a an anxiety with an outward agitation which is coming. You're letting these things eat you up. You're making the choice to let these things eat you up, as if you're in a storm, kind of. And it is true. Again, I think this is exactly how a good, responsible, loving person is going to react. But you are making a choice to let that affect you that way. But there's only one thing which is needful. There's need of one thing, and the language here is not absolutely clear, I don't think. But he seems to be almost using language which is almost wordplay of the situation. What is the situation? What's going on? What are they getting ready for? I mean, down the road, but I mean, what, right here, right now. What's happening? They're getting ready to eat, and there's only one dish. That's really the language here. There's only one dish you need on this feast. You don't need to be worried about all those other things you are eating. There's only one dish which is necessary today. 42 Terry.
Only one thing is needed. Mary has chosen what is better, and it will not be taken away from her.
All those other things that you're trying to put on the table ultimately aren't important. You just need the one dish. And Mary's focused on that one. I'm not going to take it away from her. Now, that could also be, it sounds like I'm saying Jesus is shirking responsibility. It's not his responsibility here. I mean, he's the teacher, he's God, but it's not like he has to micromanage what Mary's going to do. Mary is doing something she should be doing. She's focused on the one thing. I'm not going to take this away from her. Yeah. So doesn't mean that he doesn't empathize with Martha's situation or understand. He's just not going to pull the rug out from under Mary right that was, and that if you were here, it's, well, I guess everybody here was at St. Matthew's. That was part of the message in the sermon with Tiana and the Princess and the Frog is you can even have good plans and good intentions and be doing the right thing, but even that can distract you from focusing on the kingdom at times. And that's the most important. Seek first the kingdom of God, and all these things will be added unto you. The other stuff will take care of itself. Yeah, it is. Yeah. Uh, if you remember the movie The Last Emperor, did you see that about the last emperor of China, Puyi? Puyi? Very sad movie from like the 80s, big 80s or 90s. I think it won a bunch of Academy Awards, if I remember. Uh, and it's drawn from, based on the book of the last emperor's tutor, who was there, British tutor who was there for the last emperor uh, as the old system is collapsing, as the imperial system is collapsing, and the nationalists are starting to fight. And it doesn't really get into the fight with the communists yet. It's more the warlords, but it's that era where the emperor's losing everything, and he's just a little kid losing it. But it starts with the emperor has died. The little kid has been being raised separately. He's brought back to the Forbidden City, even though he's just like he's like 3 at the time or something, because now he's going to be emperor. But still alive at this point is the Empress Dowager, which famous at that time, kind of this dragon lady. She was still alive, so she's got to appoint the new emperor. When she was alive, for her meal every day at noon, the court had to prepare 100 dishes for her every day. Think about all of that activity. Well, this woman didn't eat 100 dishes. You can get wrapped up in doing all kinds of stuff. And of course, that was ostentatious wealth, um, kind of despicable wealth. Um, but Jesus is saying all the other stuff is at the side. You only need the one, right? You only need the one, and that's the Word of God. He's not poo-pooing the rest. It's just not what's important, not what's most important.
Unfortunately, this passage, though, has gotten misinterpreted so much
Oh,
because Martha is serving,
mhm.
and there's nothing wrong with that, but right, it's not the most important. I've heard so many interpretations that you have to be a Mary, don't be a Martha. Now
That's
that's
a
not true.
no. What Terry was sharing is often this is used as you have to be Mary, not Martha. Martha gets beat up on as that's not the point of the story. But yes, I think preachers have used it that way in many situations for hundreds of years probably that Martha is somehow the bad person in the story, and I don't think there's any implication of that. Jesus doesn't say, Martha, you're wrong, or Martha, you should be sitting here at my feet. There's nothing like that. It's just Mary's focused on the most important thing. I'm not going to take that away from her. Doesn't say she shouldn't be helping, but it's just at this moment, I'm not going to tell her to do that. I think this is real human family dynamics and hospitality and all those things going. Yeah, I mean, if we don't see Martha as the villain, if that's not the interpretation you go to right away, I think the story is much more relatable because it's something we can all appreciate. I'm going to stop the recording.